Hi everyone, a little channel update before we start today's video. I'm currently revamping the channel a little bit, nothing too much. I'm just having a proper logo created, so hopefully I'll be able to show you that next week with a new intro. I'm changing the way I record the audio, and I'm currently recording that way now, so I'm hoping this sounds better. If it doesn't, let me know in the comments and I'll change it back. Upload day is still every Thursday, but don't be surprised if you see other videos throughout the week. I'll be uploading these when I can, if work is quiet and so on. Finally, I have set up an email address so you guys can send me in your stories. I've noticed a lot of people are leaving comments asking me to check out certain stories, so I set up an email address so you can send them over that way. If you do, I'll make sure to get back to you on the email, and it will be linked below. Right, let's get into today's video. Cheers. Indian Spring is a freshwater spring located on a private property south of Tallahassee in Wakulla County, Florida. The spring is approximately 90 feet deep and contains both a cavern and a cave, which connects to the famous Wakulla Springs and Floridan Aquifer. To this day, the length of the spring remains unknown, but miles of its cave passages have been explored. Today, the spring is developed as a recreation area fit with platforms, water slides, and canoes. However, the spring is most famous for the tragic events that took place in 1991, which shook the cave diving community of Florida and remained a mystery for years to come. This is the story of the Indian Spring cave diving disaster. On the 17th of November 1991, a group of several experienced cave divers, including Parker Turner, Bill Gavin, George Irvine and Lamar English, met at Indian Springs to conduct a research dive that had been planned for 2 years. 4 years prior, the team had broken the world record for the longest, deepest underwater cave dive. They were all professional cave divers, and their goal was to map the cave system and locate new passages in the deeper section of the cave. According to Bill Gavin, the dive was the first in a series of planned exploration dives, and they came equipped and prepared. Irvine and English were the first to go into the spring. These two acted as support divers, and their job included a relatively shallow dive to test a new self-propelled underwater vehicle that English had just purchased. Gavin and Turner were diving much deeper below them. After completing what they needed to do, Irvine and English decided to resurface. When a diver resurfaces, they have to pause at various depth stages for extended periods of time to decompress their bodies. As Irvine and English decompressed, limestone rock suddenly became dislodged from the cave ceiling and fell, along with sand and mud. This caused an underwater landslide which completely blocked the entrance where Gavin and Turner had been. The water quickly went from clear to a visibility of 0. This caused Turner and Gavin to become trapped in the underwater cave. The two experienced divers assessed the situation and took action by managing their gas supply and tried to search for an exit. Gavin miraculously was able to force his way through a small gap and decided to surface to get help. Unfortunately, with desperation setting in, Turner decided to take off his tank to wiggle through a small hole, but because the visibility was next to none, he drowned. His body was discovered the next day. At the time, no one knew what caused the landslide. Speculation and accusations were thrown about, including that the self-propelled vehicle was to blame. Others suggested explosives from a land clearing nearby were to blame. However, the mysterious case wouldn't be put to bed until 20 years later, when it was finally solved. The case was solved by Professor Doron Knopf, who conducted an experiment at the Florida State University. He concluded that one of the divers had released air bubbles that caused a limestone ceiling to collapse and fatally trapped Turner in the cave. Knopf said the bubbles reduced buoyancy of the water, increasing the weight of the limestone rocks, causing them to drop and block an entrance to the cave. In his experiment, Knopf attached a metal ball by a magnet to the top of a cross-section of water, then pumped in the air bubbles, which then caused the metal ball to drop. He went on to state that human error is always at fault. Unfortunately, in Parker's case, it was not his human error. Parker Turner was a funny, well-liked husband and father, and although he died doing what he loved to do. He lived and breathed for diving. It was his passion. In an account of the accident, Gavin wrote, "I will not attempt to describe the effect this accident has had on myself or Parker's many friends and family. To say that we have lost a good friend, that we will miss him, that his place in our lives can never be filled, is all true and also inadequate. Grief is a personal emotion, difficult to completely comprehend, and for me, not easily shared. To the many friends that have helped me through this, I offer a thanks, the depth of which only they can understand. In all times to follow, whether diving together or in moments shared on other pursuits or when far apart, I will not forget any of you."